Today I'm going to show you how to set your hair in two different ways, and it's a cool set, so you don't have to go under a dryer or anything, and it's something that you can do in the morning and then in the evening kind of brush it out and get a different look. I'm going to do two different looks, as I say. One side I'm going to do wrapping it around a scarf, and the other side I'm going to twist it around a scarf, and you get a very different look. And I think it's quite interesting that you see the difference between the two looks. So I'm going to get started. I'm using hair that's, I'd say it's dry but still cool. So it's got some dampness in it, so it still feels quite, if you touch your lips, this is one way you can always tell if your hair's dry top tip. Just touch your lips, as long as you're not wearing lipstick, you're okay, or lip balm. And you can feel the dampness. So I'm going to start by getting a scarf. So this is the scarf I'm using. It's an old scarf. It's probably just over 1 metre long. You need something that's quite light, that is a little bit absorbent, and it's quite narrow. You could probably just use some material, to be truthful. And I'm going to start off by placing it on the front of the head, and I'm going to clip it into place. Okay, so we start off there, and what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to start adding sections, and I say this side I'm going to do just a wrap section. So I'm literally wrapping it round the hair, and each time it goes round I pick up another piece of hair from underneath and wrap it around. Next section, wrap it round. I'm going to spin this round so you can see what I'm doing. Underneath, pick up the next section, making sure it's smooth, and wrap it round. So I'm going to continue doing this to the back of the head. Try and keep it as smooth as you can, and keep the crown smooth, because that's going to be one of those things that people are going to be looking at that crown thinking, oh my god, what the hell did she do to the top of her head? It looks like a busby. So you want to just keep that smoothness going through there. And I'm keeping it tight to the head. I'm now going to spin this around a bit more. This is, I think, about the simplest way of setting your hair if you've got long hair. If you've got kind of shoulder length, it'll still work quite well. But I think it works if it's on below shoulder, and you'll really get a very good look from it. Just keeping it clean. I'm taking slightly smaller sections through the back, so there's more of them, because the hair's now beginning to get thick, and what you don't want to do is have it very wavy or curly at the front and then kind of dead straight at the back. So I'm just adding smaller sections to this. So in the middle of the nape, and wrapping that round. And now I'm going to continue wrapping it around the scarf. making sure I get those ends in. And now I'm going to turn it back on itself. It's not going to stay like this, but I'm going to turn it back on itself, and I'm going to use a crocodile clip to hold it in place. Because if you let that go, it'll unravel. So that's one side complete. So this side, as I say, I've done one side just doing that normal, taking it over. This side, I'm going to take each section and twist it forward, then pass it over the scarf. I'm going to pick up a section, twist it forward, pass it over the scarf. Now that first section I picked up, I'm joining to my next section, twisting it forward, passing it over. I get that section I had previously. So this is a bit trickier, but it's a bit like learning a plait. It's one of those things where you have to just get into the habit. Pass it over, pass that under, add a section. The one thing I'd say you need when you're doing this is that you really need to have the hair combed through, make sure you've used a good conditioner. We use night serum on this, so it's actually very good from the point of view of the condition now is fantastic. So it really helps. You want it to be in top condition. You don't particularly need any styling product on this. And if you do use styling product, I'd say use something that's fairly soft. If you use a very strong mousse or something like that, you'll find it'll end up being too crispy and it'll not work so well. And that's the one thing about when you're doing this cold setting. You want it to feel quite natural. So now I'm just joining those two sections of hair together and wrapping them around the scarf. Always the tricky bit with this is getting the ends in, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to use an elastic. Let's just get one here to finish this off with. With the wrap section, you don't particularly need it. With the twisted section, it tends to be a bit springier, so yeah, you're best having the elastic on there. Now I'm just going to put that up there and hold it in place there. So what I've done is, as you can see, I've got one section that's just wrapped around, and the other side where it's been twisted. So to finish off, I'm going to take that down and take this side down and I'm going to knot those together. So twisting that round, I'm going to pass that through. Tie a knot. You need to tie it quite tight because the hair is going to be working its way against you. So there we go. Oh, lost my clip. Let's just get that end in there. And there we go. So you can wander around quite happily, hopefully with one side the same as the other. But if not, try it out. I've now left this in all day, and it's one of those things I think it's quite good that you can go around with your hair looking kind of up and tight during the day, and then in the evening you can take it down, shake it out. Right, so I'm going to just take out this. So I tied the knot in the back. So now I'm just going to unwind this. And I did this on dry hair, but it is what I'd say is cool dry. It wasn't completely dry. So what happens then is it will take the form and it will set quite easily. So that's my twisted side down. Now for the other side, which is wrapped round. So this isn't something you'd want to do on yourself. You'd want to do both sides the same, otherwise you're going to look a bit odd. But I think it's quite important that you see the difference between twisting the hair and just wrapping the hair. And lots of people have been doing kind of stuff with scarves, socks, all sorts of ways of setting the hair. Okay, so I'm just literally going to run my fingers through. There's a big 70s kind of feel going on at the moment, and I think it's quite nice having that 70s curly, slightly hippie kind of look. And this is an easy way of producing it without damage to your hair by using curling irons, and you still get that really curly kind of look. Okay, so that's my curly side. And what I'd do is if this is on if this is on your own hair, I'd do it so that you'd pull this down, let this drop a little bit, and you end up with a really beautiful curl that will stay for a few days. Okay, on this side, which is the twisted side, I'm going to go through each twist separately. If you try and do it all in one go, it doesn't really work that well. But what you end up doing is you can see you get a really beautiful curly wave. You can see you get a beautiful effect. And so this is more ripply wave, and that's more curl. Let's spin you around to the front so you can see the full effect. And there we go. A scarf set